The FBI, the Justice Department, does play a role in defending our country from security threats. That's what the National Security Division does. They are part of the intelligence community. However, it seems that Bob Mueller construed his writ more narrowly, looking primarily and only at whether or not crimes had been committed. Okay, he did that. He discharged his obligations there. It leaves open, Nicole, the question you posed, which is, what are the ongoing threats to national security? What leverage does Russia have over our foreign policy? And that's really for Congress.
Jeremy, I'm reading just page 158, the end of part 1. President attempted to remove the special counsel. He sought to have the Attorney General limit the investigation. He sought to prevent public disclosure of information. He used public forums to attack potential witnesses. You hear all that and you say, well, that sounds substantial. The last sentence is, judgments about the nature of the president's motives during each phase would be informed by the totality of the evidence. This just is a slap shot over to Congress.
It is. It's saying to Congress, it is really up to you to analyze whether or not the president abused his power, whether he can be trusted with that power. That is fundamentally a constitutional question. It goes to the heart of the congressional evaluation of the president's fitness for office, whether he engaged in conduct pertaining to his office that might be construed to be high crimes and misdemeanors, which is, of course, the impeachment standard, but more broadly to conduct oversight over the president's use of the executive power under our Constitution.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.